How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We are back with another FPL live stream. So if you're watching this over on YouTube, make sure to come check us out over on the live streams for our preview and deadline streams. Today we're recording on the 18th, so this VOD will be going up on the 18th. But yeah, we are live here on Twitch to discuss Game Week 29, the blank Game Week 29 deadline, and whether or not we can trust certain players going into this game week. Spurs getting knocked out of Europa League, losing 3-0. And yeah, that just doesn't look great for them. Arsenal going through, Man United going through, and their priorities may shift towards that a little bit more. Obviously, United being a little more comfortable in the Premier League, but Spurs definitely not so, and Arsenal definitely not so. So could be a bit interesting. So do we trust Kane with the captaincy? Can we trust Spurs? That's the title of the stream today. As well as we're going to take a look at some potential, differential picks for the captaincy choice. I have my XGI and attacking output table ready to go for that. We'll see who's on the goals imminent table as per normal. And we'll take a look at what potential transfers I'm looking at going forward. We'll kind of take a look ahead of potential wildcard situations. I know that there are some people that are just want this game week to be over so that they can wildcard their team to something nice. So I'm going to pretend if I had the wildcard, what I would do, because I know wildcard in 30 and 31 are going to be quite popular. So I'll do a quick little draft up on that as well, probably, if we have time on the stream. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the title should say Game Week 29 deadline. Let me fix that quickly. Production value out of 10, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll get it all sorted. But yeah. So, these are the players that I currently have in my team. So, Martinez, Aina, Target, Rafinha, Lookman, Son, and Watkins with Kane captain. I'm still debating on whether to play Martinez, but now with the fact that, Spurs they've just been so bleh, just so bad, just so drab. I'm just not really sure if we can actually trust, Spurs to score a boatload of goals, which means Martinez might end up getting a lot of saves. So maybe we look towards, Rafinha and Lookman getting a goal each either side, which means obviously Aina suffers on the clean sheet aspect, but Aston Villa come and get a 0-0. That benefits me. If Son doesn't play, yeah, Kane captain, everyone's going to have him, but not many people are going to have Target and Martinez probably playing, in this game week. Everyone's probably looking for Brighton defenders, maybe some Fulham attackers, maybe some Brighton attackers, maybe some West Ham or Arsenal players. There's a lot of different ways that you can slice it this week, and I think it just kind of depends on your team setup. Now, my team is decently enough set up for this game week to where I don't have to free hit, and it's definitely not set up for game week 33, which we'll take a look at kind of a little bit later on in the show, as to when you could free hit there, because the teams that are blanking there, a lot more people will have those players, Man City players, Spurs players, maybe some Fulham players, maybe on the bench or something over from a bench boost like myself, and Southampton players, similar idea. So I'm looking forward to potentially free hitting in that game week. And yeah, I don't have a wild card, but we'll certainly check out what that would look like, basically. So let's kind of take a look at the fixtures here. So, are these fixtures very exciting? No. But there are potential places where we can get points in and around these separate fixtures. And it all depends on how you feel the games are going to go. Some of the games are or a couple of games here are pretty easy to call, in my opinion. So, Brighton versus Newcastle. I personally think that Brighton's going to win. And I think they're going to keep a clean sheet because Newcastle just have nothing going forward. A lot of people think that as well. But in terms of the Fulham Leeds game, it can go one of two ways. It's either going to be an absolute shootout, or it's going to be a 0-0, because both teams are struggling to score at the moment. So, hey Zaka, hey Zodiac, how is it going? Glad that you could join us. I'm doing great after such a good week. The good vibes, yeah, that's how we roll. Good, just vibes, no tactics, just vibes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style. working his magic. But yeah, I mean and then West Ham versus Arsenal, again, two teams that are quite good, defensively, or have been good defensively recently. Even though I don't think Arsenal's defense is that good, and West Ham have been very good at home. So again, a bit of a tough one to call. And then Spurs, again, we know that they have the players, to be extremely good. But just like Zaka says, today they were Keck W all the way. It wasn't great. And Aston Villa might have Grealish back potentially, but it's still yet to be seen. Maybe Dean Smith is hiding him in the wings for him to start versus Spurs. Who knows? But Aston Villa are a good side, and they will beat Spurs if Spurs don't defend, very good, basically, if they don't defend well. Or they just sit there to park the bus and let Aston Villa just pepper them. Because Gareth Bale doesn't work in that type of system, Mourinho. I don't know if you know that, but you can't just play a bunch of good players and park the bus. That's not how it works. You have to let them do what they want to do. Your defense is bad. You should not favor your defense. That's how it works. Thoughts on captaining Lucas Moura against Villa? I mean, the title of the stream today, can't trust Spurs. So I'm not even sure I might even be captaining Kane. But again, there isn't much else there, so we'll have to see. But yeah, Kane's going to be kind of just the safety net. I mean, Kane can always get a penalty as well. That's another thing. Yeah, like Zaka says, Spurs were Keck W. I mean, you just go there to park the bus on a 2-0. I mean, they always say 2-0 is the most dangerous score line in football because one goal for the team, and just like that, the other team's in the tie. And then obviously one goal for the team that has two, and the tie's sealed off. What Spurs should have done is played full strength, gone out, got one goal, and then the game's over, basically. That's what they should have done. Is it even worth taking hits this game week? To be honest, I only see potential in defensive players. That is true. I would say that is true. For the most part. So like the likes of Cresswell, the likes of Veltman, the likes of Dunk, the likes of Dallas. Those sorts of players are all going to probably do quite well this week. In terms of attackers, it's very, very limited. Very, very limited. And unfortunately, you're looking at players that in teams aren't really scoring too much. So like West Ham, you probably pick just Jesse Lingard, maybe Antonio. Maybe Antonio. And I wouldn't personally like to double up unless you just happen to have them. Brighton, no attackers there. Newcastle, no attackers there. Aston Villa, only really Ollie Watkins. Spurs, obviously everyone's going to have Spurs. Leeds, Bamford, but he might, come off the bench. He might not start. Who knows? And then Rafinha, and then Fulham, not much there either. So I think defense is potentially the way to go this week. Kane played 120 minutes today. I feel like he's going to be tired before the weekend. That's another key point. Oliver brings up a very key point. Kane playing 120 minutes is not good. It is not good because that means he's going to be knackered. And Aston Villa, they can, they're high energy. McGinn's going to be on him. Douglas Luiz is going to be on him. These sorts of players are going to run rings around Kane, who's not very fast in the first place. And if that team's knackered, then... And Mourinho's just going to tell him, oh yeah, we're going out against Villa again, and we're going to park the bus again, which means you're doing more running, then it just doesn't really make too much sense. They need to go on the front foot if they want to have a chance. My problem for today, I've already taken -4 to get in Dunk and Rafinha. Should I take another -4 to get rid of Son /Traore/Burn? If so, for who? Nah, I would say hang on to it. I would say hang on to him. Put Son in your lineup, put Traore in your lineup, put Burn in your lineup. They can't hurt you, really. Unless they come on and obviously they play and get a red card or something. But you might as well just play them. If you have, with Son getting injured, I think the number of players that's probably recommended, I would say, this game week went down by 1 overall. Because pretty much everyone wanted Son and Kane this week, right? So before I was saying around 8 players was probably comfortable. Now it's probably more around the 7 mark. Because obviously Burns out, Bamford could be out. Kane played 120 minutes. Son's probably out. Grealish might not be back still. There's many different factors here. And basically there are teams where you just don't want to pick from them. Like, nobody wants to pick from Newcastle. There's only a couple of Arsenal players you want to pick from. There's only a couple of West Ham players you want to pick from. Leeds, there's only a couple of players from them too. And Fulham, unless you're like myself, who I have 3 Fulham players, then you probably don't want to go near them either. So it is a bit tricky. I will probably play 5-4-1. I'm going to play whatever formation I can fit my team in. Yeah. I have Souček and Antonio for West Ham for this game week. I think those two are good as well. I think Souček, I actually forgot about him completely. But Souček and Antonio, players on set plays, are going to be good versus Arsenal. I think this week could be the week of set plays. So if you have a Fulham defender, one of the center backs, they could score a set play on Leeds. Brighton defender for Newcastle, West Ham defenders for like Dawson, and maybe Aston Villa, maybe like a Tyrone Mings or a Konsa. They're usually quite threatening. Arsenal, Spurs, Newcastle, and Leeds are all terrible at defending set pieces. So yeah, could be interesting. Think of this way in your blank game week: will you swap in, make at least 2 points? If yes, it's worth it. If yeah, exactly. So if you think the player's going to get a clean sheet, you're going to be up 2 points. Simple as that. But you also have to factor in that some people won't have the wild card as well. So some people can dead end their team, what they like to call dead ending your team, which is you make these transfers to get in players, and then you're just going to get rid of them anyway because you don't need them. And a lot of people are going to do that in Game Week 30. And it's actually quite good to potentially have your have your wild card ready if you still do have it. Like, I don't have it ready, and I'm a little bit worried about the whole international break thing with players having to quarantine and that sort of stuff, which is why I'm going into it with 2 free transfers to ensure that I don't get, my team comes back and I have 6 red flags across it, That would be just bad. Only take hits if you think your swap is a clean sheet or a return. If not, then it's a no-go. Yeah, exactly. So if you think Brighton's going to keep a clean sheet, probably worth bringing a Brighton defender. I'm really tempted to swap Veltman with Burn. The thing is, Potter said Burn could be available for the weekend. Yeah, exactly. You never know. I would say if the players you have, play them already. If you have at least 7 players you know is going to start, that's fine. Even Dunk is essential for this game week. I don't think any player is really essential this game week. I mean, especially Kane playing 120 minutes. Spurs just parking the bus. Doesn't look great. I honestly think that maybe the most essential player this week is maybe Rafinha. Maybe. But with Bamford out, he doesn't have a strike partner to give the ball to. I mean, we'll see the attacking output table that I have that shows how good Rafinha is at creating chances. He just needs somebody to put it in the back of the net. I'm going to use the wild card in 30. Yeah, exactly. So if you're going to bring in players for minus, you only have a short, remember, they have to basically get that return this week, right? So if you bring somebody in and it's effectively a -2, then you need to have them have at least an assist, clean sheet, that sort of thing. Dunk is probably the best player for game week 29. I don't think so. I think it's still probably Kane, to be honest. It still probably is Kane. But Kane's effective ownership is going to be massive anyway. Dallas, Rafinha, Dunk, Watkins, best players in 29. I like Dallas this week, I do. Because if it's a 0-0, then obviously you get a clean sheet. And he's going to create chances as well, which typically boosts his bonus up a little bit. He does like to get booked when he plays in the center of the park, but yeah. Watkins could be good because Spurs' defense are just bad. But yeah, Dunk, Rafinha, Dallas, Watkins. A lot of people are going to have those players. Me, personally, I'm not going to, but again, we'll see. I have 10, 9 of Son not playing, 8 if Burn not playing, 7 if Traore not playing, and 6 if Bamford is not playing. Well, Bamford's probably going to play, so you probably have 7. So I would say that's probably, you're probably okay there. I think that's fine. I wouldn't take any more hits. I find Kane kind of overrated without Son. I mean, him and Bale were doing quite well overall. But I mean, if you look at this week, if you have a cheap forward, Kane, Rafinha, that's probably, like, everything else is probably going to be pretty mediocre, to be honest. But, that's just my opinion. Like, I'm even considering, like, a lot of people are going to have Martinez in goal because that's the only goalkeeper that they have. I'm considering playing Areola over him. But that's going to be probably a last-minute decision for me, to be honest. At this point, I've doubled up on Chelsea defense for Game Week 30 because of their fixtures, and I've swapped the Brunner for Fernandes because of the heavy fixtures for City. Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly fine too. Like, I'm looking at ways to potentially bring Bruno back in as well. Did I see Bale today? I didn't watch much of Spurs. I just know that Spurs were literally parking the bus. Should I start Meslier or Martinez? It's interesting because Fulham have been, creating chances. They just haven't had that final, like, end ball where it makes it a big chance, or, like, make the chance clear cut. That's the real issue. I would say, based on Spurs' performance today, I would say Martinez is probably looking in for a clean sheet, potentially. So, who knows? I mean, obviously, the ideal scenario is you play Martinez, you captain Kane. Kane scores a hat-trick, but one of those goals that he scores, Martinez saves the penalty, and then Kane taps it in afterwards. That'd be ideal. That would be definitely the ideal scenario. You can have 10 players for Game Week 29 and still get less than 5 points. You'll still get less than 5 of the right Game Week 29. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not many players that people are... Like, this Game Week, the highest score is probably going to have, like, Cavallero or somebody random. Like somebody that you wouldn't really expect, right? Like, it just depends. Like, this Game Week is going to be a little bit of luck, to be honest. Because a lot of people are going to have some of the similar players, and it's going to be that one player that potentially does something that's going to, like, throw everything off. Yeah, the right picks is all that matters in this game. Like, you just have to get, just points, basically. Just get as many points as you can. I think the average this week is, assuming it's a pretty drab game week, is probably going to be like 20 or something like that. If you can get 20 points, go for it. But 7 players, I think, is more than fine. But like me this week, I have Martinez or Areola. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players. 7 if Son doesn't play, basically. But I'm going to bring in 1 to make it 8 if Son doesn't play, 9 if Son does play. And that was always my intention. And then I can go into the next week in Game Week 30 with 2 free transfers. I'm a gamer. That's Netflix for me. Twitch is pretty good. But yeah, probably, in terms of like who I'm going to bring in, it's probably going to be Pereira out because it looks like he did his hamstring. I'll keep Son because Son could be back for Newcastle, which we'd still want him for. And I think the player I'm going to bring in is probably Cresswell because he just looks so good. He has 2 clean sheetable, as it were, fixtures. Leicester obviously could be a bit tricky. Then Newcastle's looks to be good. Chelsea doesn't typically score many, and West Ham, can do quite well versus them. The last time they played each other, what did they do versus Chelsea? They lost 3-0, which is a bit unfortunate. But they could potentially hold their own. And then it looks like 4 clean sheets and 5 towards the end of the season. So I think Cresswell could be quite good. Chelsea winning the Champions League. They looked pretty good versus Atletico, to be honest. They looked pretty good. Mind you, Pulisic came on and just like messed up like 6 counterattacks in a row. And then they finally got one to go. With Emerson, of all people, just coming in and just absolutely blitzing the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, first touch in the back of the net. Yeah. It's pretty good. Most strikers would be proud of that. But yeah, then I would go into this week with, the ability to still look at Son and see where I can go from there. I still want to keep Rafinha because of the fact that, he does play Sheffield United and is could be quite good. I may hang on to Vardy. Like, who knows? Like, if Son's still injured for the Newcastle game, I can still be quite flexible. So I can go from Son to Bruno if I think that the Spurs double up just isn't going to work. And then I can downgrade a defender for somebody. And I can still keep Vardy, and let's say, maybe he gets something on the break versus Man City, and he's like my differential. And then I can get rid of Cancelo, and then I can look at defenders who are in the 5-5 bracket. Maybe I look for a Wolves defender. Because, you know, Wolves versus West Ham, maybe I think that's going to be a 0-0 potentially. That wouldn't be too bad. I now have a Wolves defender for the long run. I would like to get a Chelsea defender. If I could. But, you know, I mean, I'm still not 100%. Like, there's a small part in the back of my head that just says, is Antonio Rudiger really nailed on? Is he really nailed on? I'm still not sure on that. I mean, he plays a lot of games, but yeah. Only player that really annoys me is Reece James. He should start, but yeah, he should start, but he just never does, which is annoying. Like if Kurt Zuma was playing every game, like he was under Lampard, like he would be super good. Like he's gonna be versus a whole bunch of teams, like West Brom, Crystal Palace, Brighton. They're not great on set pieces, really. I mean, West Brom try to be. Brighton try to be, but we'll see. Maybe I even do a minus 4 or something. I get Azpilicueta just to be 100% sure. And then I downgrade somebody else. Just trying to think who I would downgrade potentially. Well, I want to keep Target for 30, so I'd rather downgrade him the following week. Shaw will be versus Brighton. I don't know, maybe I just downgrade Aina to somebody who's just never gonna play ever. But again, we'll see what the international break brings. But yeah, I still have options. And then obviously if we bring in, you know, Cresswell. We bring in Cresswell, and Son is fit, then maybe, you know, maybe I'm inclined to keep Jamie Vardy, and then maybe I just kind of just do the transfers I was gonna, you know, one of them I was gonna do, just get Azpilicueta in, just to be, you know, 100% sure, and then get, you know, maybe bring in Dawson instead of Aina, and he can be like my budget defender if you want. Or maybe I bring in Dawson instead of Target. Or maybe I downgrade my goalkeeper. Who knows? There's a bunch of different ways I like to do it. I like to get a Chelsea defender in 30. I'd like to have Bruno back. But we will see. I'm going to have 3 Chelsea defense and 2 Wolves. Really need to take in some points in my mini league. All or nothing. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to do it. 2 Wolves, maybe 3 Chelsea. I mean, could be very good, obviously, with the run. But then you have to be looking to get them out afterwards, after the 3 games or so. If James and Chilwell don't play, then Chelsea don't deserve them. True. Hands down, Reece James is more balanced than TA and Wan-Bissaka. Prove me wrong. See, the thing is, though, the way England are going to play... let me actually bring up the... because this is the way Gareth Southgate's going to play. Let me actually see. I'm gonna bring up the England squad list. Where is the England squad? Oh, here we go. Squad announcement. Squad announcement. Is there not a picture for it? England squad Twitter. England. There we go. Just whack that in the middle. Let me just minimize that. Just move it in the center. There we go. So yeah, this is the squad that they're using for the qualifiers. Now this isn't going to be the team that's going to go to the Euros. Let's just call that right here, right now, because Gareth Southgate's favorite Nick Pope. I mean, not Nick Pope. I was going to say Dean Henderson after that. Jordan Pickford isn't in there. So let's kind of, stomp that out. Looks like Chilwell and James is playing against more attacking teams. Alonso chose Ziyech Pulisic against more defensive teams. Yeah, maybe because you can get away with them. Will James play in 30? Probably. I think you can't rely on James playing. Yeah, like Zaka said, it seems like teams when Chelsea need to break somebody down, they need somebody a bit more dynamic, someone a bit more like individual, like the individual brilliance, like dribble past the player then whip it in. Whereas Reece James is kind of just gonna be crossing it mostly. He's not gonna like do a couple skill moves and then beat him in most cases. Yeah, a back five is what Chelsea should go for. And yes, I do agree. Pickford is trash. But if you look at the team here, if you look at some players that were left out, obviously up front, no Jadon Sancho here. Marcus Rashford ain't going to go because he's injured. He came off injured tonight. The midfielders are pretty straightforward. Nothing really too crazy there. Kyle Walker, Trippier, Stones, Luke Shaw, yeah, Reece James, Maguire, Mings, Dyer, Cody, Chilwell. I mean, I don't know if Dyer gets picked, but whatever. The thing that I don't understand is when you play a back three system. And then obviously the goalkeepers are whatever. So for England, they're gonna play get that off the screen. They're gonna play a back three because that's how Gareth Southgate wants to play. He's not gonna play a back four. That's not how he's gonna play. He's stuck in his ways and he'll play a back three because he likes playing 85 defenders. But that's fine. So he'll play a back three, and that back three will typically consist of two actual proper center backs, and then Walker will be the other one. So let's say this. I mean, this is going to be Pickford, isn't it? This will probably be John Stones, and this will be Maguire come tournament time. And then he likes playing two defensive midfielders. So this will probably be Henderson, and this will be Declan Rice because those are his two favorite picks. Left back will either be Shaw or Chilwell. I think you probably pick Shaw based on form and playing time at the moment. Don't think there's really any competition here. And then this will probably be Trent Alexander-Arnold, and the other player should be Wan-Bissaka. Should be, and I'll tell you why in a second. And this is his, and then he's going to obviously play with the front three. So he's going to have obviously Kane. He should play Grealish out here, but you have Grealish. You have Grealish and Rashford and Sterling. And then out here, you could put Foden. You could put Sancho. You could put a bunch of different players out there. But the reason I say that this position can change... Oh, and Mount. Yeah, Mount could play here too. Forgot about him. There's a bunch of different players that can honestly play. And even, you could potentially, like... This position could also be Mason Mount as well. Or this position, rather. You can drop Henderson, put in Mount, and just tell Rice to kind of just chill. And just play a 3-1-3-3. Because you have the width, you have the defensive capability. It's perfectly fine. Well, the reason I would say... so let's say you're going up against a team... like... What's like a historically defensive team? Let's say Greece, hypothetically. A team that's very astute, very defensive. They're gonna go like 4-5-1 or 4-4-2. They're gonna put two banks of four, and they're gonna really pack it pack it in towards the back and basically try to hit you on the break or, nick a set piece. They're basically going to play, or at least they traditionally, when they won the Euros, were playing more of like that type of style. Frustrate the opponent, heavy defensive work, and then get something off a set piece or something like that. If you're playing a team like that, you want to play Reece James, you want to play Trent Alexander-Arnold 100%. But if you're playing a team like France, who's going to play like 4-3-3, they're going to have threats on multiple parts of the pitch. You don't want Trent, basically doing nothing defensively. If you have Wan-Bissaka saying, no, Mr. Mbappe, Mr. Griezmann, whoever it is out on that side, because he's great 1v1 defensively. Didn't have a great game tonight, to be honest, but is typically quite good 1v1 defensively. And even if they were to get by him, they're not getting past Walker. And then same for the other side. You got John Stones, who reads the game brilliantly, and you have Shaw, who's pretty good 1v1 defensively as well. And then you're still going to get work rate out of Rashford and Sancho, whoever's on those sides as well. But it just creates good cover, and then basically you can get those games where you're, not necessarily going to be having a lot of the ball versus France. You're not going to have a lot of the ball versus Brazil. You're going to not have a lot of the ball versus these sorts of teams. Then you could play the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, where I don't think Reece James or Trent Alexander-Arnold can do that role, where it's like, Wan-Bissaka, we don't need you to go forward. If anything, what they can do is when they do go forward, is let Walker go forward, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka slots in as the center back. That's what they should do. And let Walker fly forward a little bit on the attack. Because he has the recovery pace to get back. And if Wan-Bissaka is just in position as somebody's trying to run at him, he's just going to be like, well, no, you're not getting by me. And then Walker flies by and then takes the ball off him. So that's probably how it should go. Whether it's going to go like that, probably not. But who knows? Trent might not even play either. It's going to be interesting to see what Southgate picks. I mean, I think he's going to pick, like the players that'll probably pick themselves. Pickford's probably going to play because that's his favorite pick. Stones, Maguire, Henderson, Rice, assuming they're fit. Kane and Rashford probably all pick themselves because those are the picks that he likes. So, but yeah, too much in international football. Doesn't really matter too much until we get to the Euros. If England want to play wingbacks, oh, we read that one. You have to pick for the highest ceiling, in my opinion. I agree. I had a system where I was super aggressive. I basically had a back three with Jordan Henderson in it. So I had Stones, Maguire, and Jordan Henderson. And they basically just, like, Jordan Henderson and Stones would play on either sides of Harry Maguire and just acted as ball players. In front, you had Declan Rice. Your like wingback style of players were more of like actual attackers that can graft and put in the work. So like Rashford could technically play left wingback because he's like pretty good at tracking back, and very good at getting forward. So and he can just keep running, and then you can let the likes of Grealish or something like that venture in the middle. Same with Foden. And then that's kind of how I went for it. And you can go against like teams that were really easy to break down or easy to play against. Like we're just gonna sit in deep. You can do stuff like that, but Southgate probably won't do that because he likes playing 8 defenders. Sterling, Rashford, Grealish. Can Denmark adopt one of them? I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You have to like. You can't be going into a Euros tournament and you're talking about Grealish, Foden, Sancho, Mount, all on the bench or something like that. Like that cannot happen. They're too good players. There's too many good players to have all of those players on the bench. You have to find a way to make it work. Probably the most sensible way is to do a 4-3-3. In which case, you wouldn't play Trent. If you're going to play Trent, I think you play him in a midfield 3, and you kind of play him basically how De Bruyne plays. In that kind of like right half space. Because he doesn't have to do as much work defensively. He will press well. But in terms of tracking back defensively, it's not going to be as good. But again, you do that against teams who you can basically break down. Norwegian league is very weak. Probably better than some leagues. I mean, didn't Haaland come from there? Haaland came from Mulder, didn't he? And he's a monster. So, Mulder beat Hoffenheim in the round of 32 and nearly sent Granada out today. I mean, this La Liga's not great. La Liga's not great at all. And that was evident because Chelsea basically took the #1 team and just said, step aside. Haaland, Odegaard, Berger, and Hogg. Yeah, I mean, all really good players. Really, really good. Are you going to make any transfers or leave it at that? I think the one transfer, I said earlier on, is probably going to be Pereira for Cresswell. Probably Pereira for Cresswell. Like that. And then I'll pick one of Martinez or Areola, which will be one player. I'll then have Target, Cresswell, Aina, which makes 4. Then I'll have Rafinha, Lookman, Kane, Watkins, which will make 8. And then if Son plays, 9. I think a lot of people would do even more than that to get Erling Haaland playing for their team. Potentially a little bit more than that. Yeah, because I want to go into the next week with 2 free transfers, so that's how I want to do it. Because I have 2 frees at the moment. Don't think I really need anyone else. I'll have probably one extra player more than most people. Because most people are going to go with like 7 or 8. If Son plays, I'll have 9. And I have the main players that I want. I have Cresswell, who I like. I'll have a goalkeeper of my choosing, pretty much. And I'll have Rafinha and Kane. And then I have Watkins. The only player that I probably would like will probably be Lingard, but then I have Cresswell, so is what it is. Let's take a look at the goals in minute table. So these are the players that are on the goals in minute table. And there's not many players that play in this game week. There's only 3 of them out of the total 7. Obviously, Sterling, Salah, Firmino, Diagne don't play this week. But Joe Linton is on there. Now, if you're really feeling a bit different, then you can go for Joe Linton. But I don't recommend it. Ollie Watkins, someone that I have. And he's probably struck the woodwork more times than I've watched football games. And I've watched quite a lot this season. Pretty much every Premier League game this season. And El Ghazi, someone who could potentially come in and do quite well. And it's probably a bit of a differential pick. Captaincy picks. So these are the players that I think have the most potential to to get returns this week. So I've organized it by expected goal involvement over the last 6 matches. So Kane at the top, 4.31. Bamford down the bottom, 1.57. But I put players like Trossard, Lingard, Rafinha, Aubameyang, Antonio. I think all of those players are potentially like captaincy picks. But like you see, Lingard's up there. Shots on target, the most out of any player is Lingard. And then when it comes to like Rafinha, he just needs someone to put it back in there. Because look at the chances created over the last 6 matches. 20 chances created. 20. That's averaging over 3 chances created per game. Which is insane. He's created 5 big chances, more than any other player. And he's still getting a decent number of shots in and around the box as well. So I think that he could potentially be a good captaincy shout as well. But it is a bit tricky. After one good season, they literally sell their whole team, just like Ajax. Yeah, Ajax tend to sell. I mean, Ajax have a lot of good players. Same for me, I watch everything since I gamble a lot as well. Make sure to gamble responsibly. But, yeah. There's a few players that actually tempt me for the captaincy, but I think that if you just, like, Spurs have 2 bad performances. Spurs have another, dull performance or whatever. And, it's 0-0. They go down Spurs go down the end on one attack. Somebody goes down in the box. Kane then puts a penalty away. They win 1-0 and he's on. and he's on 3 bonus with a goal. Like, you know, that sort of thing is what I would be fearful of. So I'm just going to keep it simple this week. Like, I think this is not the week to, you know, captain a lot of different, like, a crazy different player. Now, if Kane was, like, out, or, like, Bale was out too, then you can start to say, like, okay, well, then maybe we can check some different things. But, yeah, we shall see. How many players will I have for game week 29? With Cresswell in, technically I'll have 10. But 2 of them are goalkeepers, and I obviously can't play both of them. So I'll have 9 if Son plays. So 1 of Martinez or Areola, 2 Cresswell, 3 Target, 4 Aina, 5 Rafinha, 6 Lookman, 7 Son, 8 Kane, 9 Watkins. But obviously if Son doesn't play, then I'll have 8. We'll close that. Now, one thing I wanted to take a look at is just briefly kind of take a look at a potential wild card. Potential wild card team. So let's kind of take a look at some players that I would definitely have or look to have on a wild card going forward. So in 31, you probably have a little bit more of an advantage because you can look and see what Leicester are doing basically at that point. But we'll go with a 30 wild card this week. Will you take hits this week? No. I have 2 free transfers and I'm only using 1 because I want to make sure that I have enough, like, not coverage is not the right word, but basically safety net, as it were, when the internationals are over. But yeah, I would have Son on the wild card. So you make 2 and 30 in wild card and 31. No, I don't have a wild card left. I used it in 25. I only have a triple captaincy, chip, and a free hit left. That's all I have. I should probably put that as a thing somewhere. Like chips available or something. Yeah, that's why I'll keep 2, because if I have to, like, mini wildcard, as it were, like, do 2 transfers plus a hit to fix some issues, then I will. But yeah, if I was wildcarding, I would definitely have Cresswell in my squad. My cheap defender would be Dawson, because he's 4-5. I would have Mitchell just because he's 3.8 and he's cheap. Azpilicueta. And then I would have like Cody or somebody like that. If I knew Seiss was nailed on, I would play him. And then eventually somewhere down the line, where is a City player? So somewhere down the line, I would basically have I would bring in Diaz for somebody in 34. Probably Azpilicueta after 34. When the Wolves fixture end. Yeah, I'd probably bring in Diaz maybe for Azpilicueta in 34. And then go from there. Or see how it goes, basically. Zaka wants to know when the rest of you guys are wild card. Interesting question. Let's see. If I was on a wild card, who else would I get? I would consider Mendy. Just because obviously his fixtures are pretty good up until and including 34. And then I would probably have Areola as a backup. Just because. Well, some of the players in 29 do have good games in 30. So like West Ham as an example. West Ham have Wolves away. Perfectly fine fixture. Spurs have Newcastle, which is great. Leeds have Sheffield United, which is good. Fulham's fixture is against Aston Villa, which is a bit rough. Brighton's probably the only one that's bad. in 30. Because they have United. And then Arsenal obviously have Liverpool, which isn't great. But apart from that, the other ones are fine. Like Leeds, Spurs. Yeah, Leeds, Spurs, West Ham. They look fine to hang on to. I probably have Rafinha just because he's just good, to be honest. I have Fernandez because duh. I would probably have a Chelsea midfielder, probably. Maybe Mount. I would probably have Calvert-Lewin in for at least a couple of fixtures. Just because he's a cheap forward as well. I would then probably have De Bruyne because he's going to play most games anyway. Actually, can I get away with having Gundogan somewhere? Forwards. How cheap can I go as a forward? 4-3. 4-3 it is. And then I would need 0.2 somewhere, basically. But I would do probably something like that. Because then, you know, you would play Mendy in 33. Yeah, he's versus West Ham, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. But you only have 4 players that you would need to bench. Well, 5 with your goalkeeper. But 3 players will go on the bench, and then one of them you just have to worry about transferring out to potentially worry about the blank. So by that point, I think you'd probably be switching off De Bruyne anyway, because you probably want more of the clean sheet potential of Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Brighton. So you'd probably be looking for maybe Diaz. Maybe you keep De Bruyne, but I'm not sure. Maybe the double city defense. Maybe you swap Mendy to Ederson. Maybe that's what you do. So further down the line, so let's say this is the team in 30, 31, 31. You ideally don't want to make any changes or anything like that. 32, you could then potentially because after that City play Aston Villa. Maybe you get De Bruyne out. So this will be where you make 2 free transfers. You get rid of De Bruyne. For the likes of Salah, probably. Because Liverpool have obviously a great run-in. And then you get rid of, I don't know, somebody else, potentially. Maybe downgrade Calvert-Lewin. Just trying to think who would be 4, potentially. But, yeah, and then basically you would want, obviously, you want a Liverpool player going in, going into that run, because they have to do well during that run, surely. Maybe they'll have some players by then. So, we'll see. I can't have 3 Brighton in 30. I mean, you could have 3 Brighton in 30. Just bench them all. Dunk is a must-have player, even if he's going to be on the bench. I don't think Dunk's that... I mean, there could be a chance where Newcastle score. I'm not ruling it out on a set piece. I see no reason to swap out Martinez. He even has an extra game. That is also a good shout. It's just his fixtures long term are not ideal. So like that's not really ideal. These are, you know, not too bad. Like these are okay. These are okay. Crystal Palace is okay, but it all depends on when he gets a double because we don't know that yet. Going to bed, have a really bad headache, have a great game week. Yep, hope you get better. Hope you get better. Yeah, hope you have a good game week as well. It's going to be pretty draw. So I mean, I'm going to be looking forward to the FA Cup games more than I am this game week, to be honest. If I could just snap my fingers and just fast forward ahead to literally the deadline for game week 30, that would be nice. But can't really do that. I could care less about game week 29. Yeah, I agree. It's not ideal. Not ideal at all. But yeah, I'd have something like that. Would probably be the ideal thing. And then at some point from like 34, like after game week 33, if I still have my, you know, but obviously if you're wildcarding, you probably don't have a free hit for 33, or you can use it whenever else, or you maybe using it in 29. I would want a situation where you would have Gundogan because he's probably going to start game in, game out. You wouldn't have Azpilicueta anymore. And you wouldn't have Cody after 34. And basically you'd have a situation where, let's say you do keep Dawson actually. You would just go like Diaz because he's going to play every game. Who knows? Maybe you keep Cody just because he's, you know, a little bit on the cheaper side. And then you go for like, you swap Mendy to Ederson. And then by that time, you know, Spurs' fixtures, you know, 35, 36, get a little bit on the worst side. Maybe go to Jota or somebody like that. Maybe go to Leicester mid. You know, there's many different things you could do. But, yeah, I don't have a wild card, so I kind of have to roll with it. But I do know that I'm only going to make one transfer this week. And it's probably, like I said, Pereira out for Cresswell. I need to fit in Mount somewhere. I don't know how yet. Maybe Son injury will make way for Mount. Yeah, I think you keep Son this week for sure, obviously, because Mount doesn't play. And you don't want to be making a substitute. You don't want to be making a transfer for 30. You know, when Mount still probably has an FA Cup game that he's going to play in. So, yeah, I would say wait. And then he's probably going to play on international duty, so he might have to quarantine. Like, we don't know how that's going to work, so. Wildcard will be without Tottenham players for the rest of the season for me. Yeah, I think the only... The two fixtures that you probably want Spurs players for is if they have a double at some point, you probably want Kane. And then these two and the Newcastle one. Like, obviously apart from the obvious blank gaming. But these two, Sheffield United and Leeds, maybe Wolves potentially, but Sheffield United and Leeds probably, and Newcastle are probably the ones that you're kind of looking at. And then obviously they will have a double with Southampton somewhere, wherever that may be. We don't know. But yeah, looking at the season ticker. Let's make it a little bit smaller. If I'm sorting my attack over the next next 4 game weeks, we'll go to the game week, including the blank game week. Sort by difficulty. Wolves, you know, if Wolves get Raul Jimenez back sometime soon, there could definitely be a spot in my team for him, no problem. Chelsea, same thing. The only problem is rotation. But then if you look, you know, Spurs after Newcastle, Man United at home, Everton away, a blank, you know, not ideal. Aston Villa's still up there for attack. Leicester as well, which is why I'm still potentially keen on hanging on to Jamie Vardy. Arsenal, but again, rotation risks there. And then for defense, you know, Chelsea, Wolves, that's why everyone's going to be getting them on the wild card. Everyone's going to be getting them. West Ham, not far behind. Then you look at teams that are going to be quite porous, potentially, over the next 5 is Man City, Leeds, Spurs, these sorts of teams. But Man City keep a clean sheet against anyone, so we'll see. Imagine a double with Southampton twice in the same week. They wouldn't do that. I don't think they can do that, actually. That'd be interesting, though. Because where would be where do they play Southampton again still towards the end of the season? No, they've already played Southampton once already. They've already played Southampton twice. Or Southampton once, rather. So, we will see. But it could come at the end of the season, which will be interesting. So, we'll see. I mean, with the whole season potentially being moved back, that could potentially be something that we see as well. Where, you know, basically a lot of teams get a double. Who knows? We have no clue. Because they want to get fans back in the stadium and whatnot. So, that could definitely be interesting to see. All things considered. Just going to take a quick peek at the potential price changes. Now, these are obviously estimates. So, Bale, Trossard, Antonio with Odegaard, Diego Jota, and Konsa close by. Not sure why people would be buying Diego Jota. And, yeah, interesting. Connolly, Ings, Charlie Taylor, and Nick Pope with Balbuena, Ryan, and a bunch of names that nobody cares about. Potentially going down. But yeah, not really too much going on there. All the price changes already really happened midweek. Like Aspilicueta went up. I think Rudiger changed in price. Cresswell, Lingard, you know, players like that did go up like once, but it's not the end of the world. Southampton really don't know if they want to play McCarthy or Forster. They swap every game week. I mean, they do. They literally swap every game week, to be honest. And it's probably annoying for some people. But it's probably more annoying for Southampton fans because they're like, we want Forster in. Oh, wait, he's actually not that good. Put McCarthy back in. Oh, he's not good either. Maybe we should just get a new goalkeeper. Yeah, sound. So, we'll see. Because both of them are like decent shot stoppers when they're up and ready. But they're both kind of bad with their feet, which is kind of a problem. So McCarthy will be first to keep since they offer a new contract the week before benching him. Yeah, that's probably makes the most sense, to be honest. But a lot of people have been calling for Fraser Forster, so definitely is a bit of a tricky situation that they have going on there. But yeah, I'm not sure who I should play in goal. I mean, like, the last time, did Martinez play, have they played versus Spurs yet? No, they play versus them in 27. So they haven't played versus them yet. Which is interesting. But the last time, Areola played Leeds, it was his first game and they conceded 4. That was because Fulham's defense was terrible. But, you know, I think it's going to be a bit tricky for Leeds to score. You know, Rafinha puts in good chances, but nobody scores them. Could be a bit of a tricky one, but yeah, we will see on that one. We will definitely see on that one. Let me close out of that. Bedtime for me now. I think we're about to wrap it up here as well. I think getting close to that time as well. So let's move over to the big screen here. So yeah, that's it for the deadline stream today. Obviously I had to do it the day before. Just can't do it. And I hate Friday deadlines because they're just annoying. And all the transfers feel rushed and whatnot. I like the hecticness, even though that means it's more rush. Saturday mornings, which is quite interesting. People scrambling early hours of the morning or late at night or whenever, worrying about what transfers they should make before the deadline. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Make sure if you are watching over on YouTube when this goes out, make sure to give us a follow, subscribe, you know, share, like, all that good stuff. Our next deadline, well, we will be doing more videos, so I'm not going to be doing any videos Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but I should be back doing stuff like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. I won't do the preview stream until the week of the game week, because that's what I like to do. So it'll probably be like of the week of the game week. It'll probably be like preview stream on like the Monday. You know, probably video Tuesday, video Thursday, video Friday, something like that. And then obviously the deadline stream, because the deadline is on a Saturday, which is nice for Game Week 30. But it is on a Friday for Game Week 31, which is mildly annoying. Again. And then 32 they haven't announced yet. But yeah. Thank you all for watching. And until the next one, take care.